Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here, and this Halloween I'm going to review some animated horror films to work out which ones are tricks or treats. Starting with The Haunted World of El Superbeasto, from director/rockstar Rob Zombie. This movie follows a superstar wrestler called El Superbeasto who must take on the evil Dr. Satan and zombie Nazis, with help from his trigger-happy sister Susie X. This movie is really boring. Like tediously dull and mundane. The idea of a Mexican wrestler fighting supernatural enemies sounds pretty cool, yet director Rob Zombie manages to make it about as riveting as watching paint dry or grass grow. The biggest problem is that not much really happens in this film. Beasto spends the whole movie trying to get laid or show off his fame to strangers, and hardly ever takes interest in the supernatural conflicts he has to face, resulting in a highly unlikable protagonist, with no likable traits whatsoever. Seriously, Beasto is a sexist, repulsive, arrogant, temperamental, slimy and sleazy prick. I had no affection towards him as a character at all. Yes, the film is aware that he's an asshole, but that doesn't make him any less obnoxious and grating to watch.
You picked the wrong guy on the wrong night. I just lost another goddamn pilot to that punk from Malcolm in the Middle! You like that? This is the result of several push-ups and that new ab thingy. It looks kinda shitty, but it really works. My ball joint.
Sure, sometimes we cut to Susie X and her robot lover Murray fighting Nazi zombies, but these scenes have little to nothing to do with Dr. Satan's plans, and are the same thing every time. Susie says a flirty one-liner, Murray gets horny, and they shoot Nazi zombies. Rinse and repeat. The only saving grace has to be Dr. Satan himself, and his sophisticated gorilla minion. Dr. Satan is delightfully campy, reminiscent of a Powerpuff Girls or 60s Batman villain, and the dynamic he shares with his gorilla is hilarious, both frequently bickering like an old married couple.
Give me that, you silly noodle ass! Steve Wachowski! How many times do I have to tell them it's Dr. Satan? Dr. Satan! Dr. Satan! Steve Wachowski is no more.
There. Who's the big man?
I told them! I called the editors! I even legally changed my name!
I did actually enjoy any scenes involving these two characters because they are the only funny and entertaining people in the film. Another issue with the film is its inability to do satire properly. For example, the movie sometimes makes commentary about sexism in society, from shallow movie casting to old-fashioned career expectations for women. Yet the movie wants to have its cake and eat it too, by also treating its female characters as eye-candy stereotypes. All the animated women are either offensively exaggerated caricatures of females or fan service entertainment. It's like the scenes where the film takes jabs at sexism are being used as defense shields for all the movie's distasteful depictions of women, making any attempts at gender satire feel very insincere. Then we have the animation, which tries to go for a crazy Ren and Stimpy style, but fails to hit the same level. El Superbeasto's animation is too crude and cheap to pull off the stretchy exaggerations and wild lunacy of a John Kay cartoon. So much of the movie's humor flops because the animation is incapable of matching the energy required to recapture Ren and Stimpy's magic. It's clear that Rob Zombie is better at directing music than animation, because one of the highlights of the film has to be its songs, which were made by the comedy music duo Hard and Firm. The songs featured go for a folksy 70s style, evocative of the tracks used in the exploitation films that clearly inspired the film. Each song has a catchy rhythm and upbeat efficiency. To conclude, The Haunted World of El Superbeasto is a monotonous, boring and dull movie. It relies too much on gruesome violence and gratuitous sex to keep our attention, which is patronizing filmmaking. Sure, the villain and music can be fun, but it's not enough to stop me from frequently yawning. I have to say that this movie is a trick. It's really not worth checking out unless you're a die-hard Rob Zombie fan. I've been Jambareeqi and I hope you enjoyed this review. Cheerio, folks.